So we are at the second chapter of the Bhagavad Gita already. So in the previous chapter we heard 4 doubts of Arjuna. Arjuna decided not to fight and to put his bow down. That, so this chapter, second chapter, is like a summary of the whole Bhagavad Gita. That the essence of this chapter is that Krishna will teach self-realization, and he does that in 2 stages. The first stage is jnana, understanding the difference between matter and spirit. And the second stage is the realization of that knowledge, that jnana. And realization of that knowledge is working without attachment to the fruits. So it means acting on the spiritual platform, not on the body platform, because the fruits are for the body. So that is being fixed in the conception of the real self. So this second chapter has different sections so here Arjuna's further doubts of surrender, because 4 doubts were mentioned in the previous chapter, because Arjuna felt compassion. He thinks he will not enjoy. There will be sinful reaction. There will be destruction of the family tradition, Varnasangha. And you will see here in this chapter, in this section, a 5th reason will come. Indecision. He does not want. He does not know what to do. He's perplexed, confused, indecision. So, and then Arjuna surrenders to Krishna, and then Krishna explains about the soul, difference between matter and spirit. Of course, Krishna wants Arjuna to fight. They fight because there is no death for the soul. And then he explains karma kanda, because Arjuna before has made that point that if I see no reason to fight because I will not enjoy it. If I get the kingdom, then I will not enjoy it, because those with whom I want to enjoy it, they will die. They will not be there anymore. So I don't think I will enjoy it. And if I die, everything is finished for nothing. But Krishna will tell it here that Arjuna, he will turn his 2 negative reasons in this lose option in a win-win option. And Krishna will tell him, if you fight and you win a kingdom, you will enjoy. And if you fight and you die, then you go to the heavenly planets, enjoying for many thousands of years or millions of years. So enjoyment is guaranteed. But then, in the next version, he says to Arjuna, don't fight for enjoyment. He condemns it. He says, don't do it. Transcend the 3 modes of material nature. Transcend these Vedic rituals for enjoyment. and fight in Buddha Yoga, Krishna consciousness, devout reaction. And then Sthita Prajna is here Arjuna explains all the characteristics of one who is transcendently situated. That's Sthita Prajna. So those at the end of this chapter, Krishna gives a glimpse of Bhakti Yoga. But in this summary, it's about Jnana and Karma Yoga or Buddhi Yoga. So now we will hear the first verse of chapter 2. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Sanjaya Vacha. Tam Tata Kipaya Vishtam. Asrapurna Collectionam. Vishidantamidam Bhakyam. Uvachamahusudana. Sanjaya said, seeing Arjuna full of compassion, his mind depressed, his eyes full of tears, Madhusudan, Krishna spoke the following words. Material compassion, lamentation and tears are all signs of ignorance of the real self. Compassion for the eternal soul is self-realization. The word Madhusudan is significant in this verse. Lord Krishna killed the demon Madhu, and now Arjuna wanted to kill the demon of misunderstanding that had overtaken him in discharge of his duty. No one knows where compassion should be applied. Compassion for the death of a drowning man is senseless. A man fallen in the ocean of nations cannot be saved simply by rescuing his outward dress, the gross material body. One who does not know this and laments for the outward dress is called a Sudra, or one who laments unnecessarily. Arjuna was a Kshatriya and his conduct was not expected from him. Lord Krishna, however, can dissipate the lamentation of the ignorant man. And for this purpose, the Bhagavad Gita was sung by him. This chapter instructs us in self-realization by an analytical study of the material body and the spirit soul as explained by the Supreme Authority, Lord Shri Krishna. Realization is possible when one works without attachment to fruitive results and is situated in the fixed conception of the self. So there are a few lines in this purport which are very good to remember. Like, compassion for the eternal soul is self-realization. What is real compassion is explained here. That self-realization, getting out of birth, death, old age, and disease. And then this chapter instructs us in self-realization. In what way? Two ways. Analytical study of the material body and the spirit soul. Discriminate between matter and spirit. Understanding that we are not a gross body, not a subtle body. Not so easy. If one understands that, really, and realizes that, one is liberated. Then we will hear more about that. In the 13th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, in the 13th chapter, Krishna says, one who understands this knowledge, that can liberate himself from the entanglement of the material energy. Because that's what Bhagavad Gita is going to teach us also in the last 6 chapters of the Bhagavad Gita. the middle part is about bhakti, from chapter 7 till 12. And chapter 13 gives more details about 6 subject matters. And the first is kshatriya and kshatriya, which is what is the body, and who is the knower of the body. The knower of the body is the consciousness, the eternal soul, and the super soul. 2 knowers. And you have the body. So in that chapter there is also a verse where Krishna says, one who understands this knowledge, this discrimination between spirit and matter, he can liberate himself. And in the 14th chapter, Krishna explains the same thing in the 3 modes of nature. There's ignorance, passion, goodness, 3 modes of nature. And one who can be situated in goodness, he will understand its real position of the spirit soul, and will be able to transcend and come to Suddha Sattva, to the transcendental form. So by knowledge of these 3 modes, one can avoid the lower modes and come to the higher modes. And chapter 15 is the same thing, it's all jnana till the end. Chapter 15 is the material creation is compared with a banyan tree, upside down, and the one who knows this banyan tree, who finds the root, he can cut himself free from this banyan tree with knowledge and attachment. The real, because this material world we will learn, is a reflection of the real tree, and the real tree is in the spiritual world. It's like a reflection in a pond or in a lake, that finding the root and cut it, give knowledge and attachment. And the 16th chapter explains the same thing in terms of demoniac qualities and divine qualities. We should avoid get rid of the demoniac and develop the divine qualities. And they are conducive for liberation. If you have them all, then you are also liberated. So it's all jnana. So this jnana is very important. You see, in this first verse here, Arjuna feels compassion for his relatives. He does not want to commit violence. In this world, in this society, mostly we think, oh, that's a good person. He does not want to harm everything. I mean, it's ahimsa, good. This is a good person. Krishna has another opinion. You will see in the next verse. Like I gave the example last week, you have a police officer and he sees a thief, and the police officer becomes sentimental. He says, I cannot arrest this thief. His mother will suffer, and then he gets a criminal file. His whole future will be ruined. I'm not going to arrest him. It's like the same thing. It was his duty. So, its compassion, Srila Prabhupada says, is misplaced. Violence has utility. One must know when how violence should be used. And the Kshatriyas had to use violence to fight for the sake of defending the principles of religion. So Lord Krishna did not expect such behavior from Arjuna. Arjuna, he was the son of Indra, very powerful. So Arjuna Arjuna is confused because he does not understand that compassion, real compassion, is compassion for the eternal soul, not for the body. So it is perfect, like this compassion for the eternal soul is self-realization. In the purport, this is like, a definition of self-realization which Srila Prabhupada gives. This chapter instructs us in self-realization by analytical study of the material body and the spiritual soul and the spirit soul. So that's self-realization, understanding of difference, and then realize it by acting in the consciousness of the soul. Okay, we go to text 2. O son of Pritha, do not yield to this degrading impotence. It does not become you. Give up such petty weakness of heart and arise to the chastisers of the enemy. So it's using that word kalaya, impotence.
That was 3, Prabhu. That was verse 3.
That's text 3. Yeah. Text 2, yeah. Here is using different words. Kasma, dirtiness. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, my dear Arjuna, how have these impurities come upon you? They are not at all befitting a man who knows the value of life. They lead not to the higher planets, but to infamy. So, in the previous chapter, we heard the Sanskrit word viparitani. There, Arjuna was saying, I don't, says Nakankshe, I don't want this royal happiness. That Raja Sukha, Nakankshe, I don't want it. Because viparitani. I will just get the opposite. So, why do it? I will not fight, Arjuna says. And here Krishna says, if you do not fight, you will get the opposite from what you desire. It's very interesting. That, in the purport, Srila Prabhupada speaks about the Aryan, the word Aryan. Let's see the word Aryan. Yeah, the word Aryan is applicable to persons who know the value of life and have a civilization based on spiritual realization. Persons who are led by the material concept of life, conception of life, do not follow it, that do not know that the aim of life is realization of the absolute truth, Vishnu or Bhagavan, and they are captivated by the external features of the material world, and therefore they do not know what liberation is. Persons who have no knowledge of liberation from material bondage are called non-Aryans. Although Arjuna was a Kshatriya, he was deviating from his prescribed duties by declining to fight. This act of cowardice is described as befitting the non-Aryans. Such deviation from duty does not help one in the progress of spiritual life, nor does it even give one the opportunity to become famous in the world. Lord Krishna does not approve the so-called compassion of Arjuna for his kinsman. So, Krishna says, if you are not doing your duty, you will get the opposite. In the Bhagavad, in the 9th canto, there is the story of Saubhari Muni. Saubhari Muni was a very advanced mystic yogi, and he was meditating in the water. That so must be a great mystic to stay a few days on the water. That and he was in the water of a river and of the Yamuna, and he saw all the fishes coming and going, and he knew the fish community. And then, but Garuda came there regularly to eat some fish. Interesting, Garuda is a pure devotee, is the carrier of Lord Krishna, and is not a vegetarian. But he came to take some fish, and Sabari Muni became disturbed, and he cursed Garuda. He said, because he had just taken the leader of the fish, and so Sabari Muni felt compassion, and he cursed Garuda, and he said, if you come again at the Yamuna, then you will leave your body, you will die. So, of course, that was misplaced compassion. And as a result of that, Sabari Muni fell from his high standard of mystic performance, and he lost all his realizations, nearly all, but still very powerful. But the result was of the offense that he started to cultivate material desires in the heart, and he wanted to marry. And he went to the king of the state at that time, and the king had 50 daughters, and the sage came, not the king, and the king offered him all respect, gave him a special seat of honor, and the man said, and the mystic yogi Sabari Muni said, I want to marry your daughters. And of course the king was thinking, I cannot refuse that. You cannot refuse any person. But he said, the king said, okay, but if my daughter so desires. But Sabari Muni was living for many years under the water, and this did not look so good. So none of the girls wanted to marry him. Then by his mystic power, he transformed himself in a beautiful, handsome man. And then all the daughters wanted to marry him. Then he married and got a married life for many, many years. That before he came to the realization of his mistake. But that's he got also the opposite from what he desired. There are a few more stories like that. The word Aryan. Now I will read it again. There's a quote of Lilasuka Prabhu on that. Because Arjuna was thinking, I feel compassion. Everyone thinks that's a good person. So he was thinking that Krishna is going to praise me. But no, that's not what happened. So, Srila Prabhupada, Los Angeles, 1968. He was thinking that by showing compassion, he'll be eulogized by Krishna. But Krishna condemned it, just the opposite. In other words, Krishna is very strict also. This is the qualification of Krishna and his associates. Vrachat api katora and kushumat api kamala. Softer than a flower and harder than the thunder Krishna is strict, he's harder than the thunderbolt. And when he's soft, he's softer than the flower. So Krishna is not lenient to his friend or his devotee, because that leniency will not help the devotee. Sometimes he appears to be very hard on the devotee, but he's not hard. Just like a father sometimes becomes very strict, that is good. It will be proved how Krishna's hardness will prove his salvation. At the end, Arjuna will admit, by your mercy my illusion is now over. So this sort of strictness from God on the devotee is sometimes misunderstood, because we are always accustomed to accept what is immediately very pleasing. Sometimes we find that we do not get what is immediately very pleasing, but we should not be disappointed. We shall stick to Krishna. This is Arjuna's position. So I read it again, text 3. O son of Pritha, do not yield to this degrading impotence. It does not become you. Give up such petty weakness of heart and arise, O chastiser of the enemy. So, Arjuna wanted to be non-violent. He does not want to kill his relatives, his superiors. That he said, I should give flowers to Bhishma, not arrows. He's my superior, I should worship him. That was his way of thinking. But Krishna said, this is impotency, klavyam. So these are heavy words. The previous word was duskulam, dirtiness. Where is his dirtiness? Am I saying klavyam? To say something like that to a kshatriya? A kshatriya? The code of a kshatriya was, if challenged, then he will fight. He will not beg for anything from anyone. Once the Pandavas were on exile, somewhere in the mountains near to the Himalayas, and there were rivers, very few rivers, and of one of the rivers came like a 1,000-blade lotus flower floating on the river. And Draupadi said, oh, that's very beautiful. And she said, Bhishma, could you get me a few more of these? Because of these lotus flowers. And I would like to offer them to you this day. And then Bhima was running up to the hill. And while he was running up to the hill, he was knocking down trees and he came in the Himalayas in a part where no humans were allowed, because these were the gardens of Kuvera. They were guarded by many yakshas. And he came out a lake there and he saw all these beautiful lotus flowers, and he wanted to pluck them and take them. Then all these yakshas appears, and they told Bhima, oh, you are not supposed to be here. This is Kuvera's garden. That you have to ask permission from Kuvera, and then maybe he will give you permission. And Bhima said, no, I'm a Kshatriya, I don't beg for anything. And there was a fight with the yakshas, and he murdered them all. And then he took the lotus flower. That's a Kshatriya. So to use such words for a Kshatriya is very heavy. Text 4. Arjuna said, O killer of the enemies, O killer of Madhu, how can I counteract with arrows in battle men like Bhishma and Drona, who are worthy of my worship? So here, that point comes up, that I should worship them, says, because Dharma Shastra is higher than Artha Shastra. Artha Shastra is how to get wealth. And Dharma Shastra says you cannot kill superiors because that's sin, you will get reactions. So he's using Shastra here. He's playing the part of the scholar. But interesting is here is calling Krishna Madhusudan, killer of Madhu. He's saying to Krishna, like you have killed Madhu, the demon, so please kill the demon of the doubt in my heart. That's why he's calling Madhu. A few quotes of Srila Prabhupada. These quotes are important. It brings us close to the understanding of Srila Prabhupada in Bhagavad Gita. On text 3, this was in Johannesburg, verse 75. Parantapa means one who gives trouble to the enemy. This is the material world. That Kshatriya cannot behave like a Brahmin to excuse. It's the Brahmin's business to excuse. Ksama, Rupa, Tapasvina. Those who are tapasvi cannot excuse, but those who are in governmental positions, in justice, there is no question of excuse. The law is a life for life. You have killed one man, you must be killed. This is justice. A Brahmin may excuse, all right, you have killed my man. Never mind, I excuse you. That is a Brahmin's business. But the Kshatriya, the government, the ruling power, he cannot do so. It is his mercy. It is the government's mercy when a murderer is hanged. Is especially addressing chastiser of the enemy, Krishna says. Where there is no excuse, you must be chastiser. Not that because I become Krishna conscious, I'll be very humble. You must be humble, but if there is necessary, you shall be a thunderbolt. That is Krishna's instructions. Text 4. And Arjuna addresses Krishna, Madhusudan, o killer of the demon Madhu. Yes, you are addressing me as chastiser of the enemy, but do you think my grandfather, my teacher, are my enemies? You killed the demon Manu, therefore your name is Madhusudan. And you are asking me to kill my grandfather and teacher? This is the hint. It's alright that your name is Madhusudan. You killed one demon whose name was Madhu, but you are asking me, Bhishma Sudan. Bhishma is my grandfather, and Rona Sudan. Sudan means killer. So how can I be that? Now, text. 5. It would be better to live in this world by begging than to live at the cost of the life of the great souls who are my teachers. Even though desiring worldly gain, they are superiors. If they are killed, everything we enjoyed will be tainted with blood. 6. Nor do we know what is better, conquering them or being conquered by them. If we kill the sons of Dhritarashtra, we should not care to live. Yet they are now standing before me on the battlefield. So here in text 6 it says, nor do we know which is better. So this is indecision. This is the 5th reason. So there are 5 reasons. This is the 5th one explained here in the beginning of the 2nd chapter. Because this indecision will make Arjuna perplexed. He doesn't know anymore. He's confused, indecision. That he was undecided to fight or not. That. So it's not that Arjuna, because he's a pure devotee, is influenced by Krishna by this Yoga Maya. We see here that Arjuna is really considering with his intelligence that he had complete control over his sun, mind and senses. That it's very interesting. This you have this. They are between two armies, and they are going to fight. That's to fight you need anger. Your blood must be cooking to fight. The passion must be there. And when you are in passion, there's no way of thinking clearly. But here Arjuna is clear, is considering very deeply. And they are going to fight, but they have a philosophical discussion between the two armies. That's very interesting. That who can do that? And a deep philosophical discussion. Therefore, Arjuna, Krishna says, Srila Prabhupada, he refers to Arjuna as someone who is thousand more qualified than all of us. He will make that point in the 6th chapter where Krishna explains Ashtanga Yoga. And Srila Prabhupada makes that point. Arjuna could not take to this process of Ashtanga Yoga, and is 1,000 times more qualified than all of us. Interesting. So that proves Arjuna was fit for liberation. Text 7. Now I'm confused about my duty, and I've lost all composure because of miserly weakness. In this condition, I'm asking you to tell for certain what is best for me. Now I'm your disciple and a surrendered soul unto you. Please instruct me. So Arjuna clearly could understand his affection for my family members. That's causing me problems. That it's the hridaya, the Baliam, Krishna will call it, weakness of heart. He knows it, and that's the reason why he cannot fight. So this is like also for us evaluation. Look in yourself. Why are we still attached to sense gratification? It's that weakness of heart. Recognize it. That's a good first step. Recognize it. Become conscious of it. Yes, I have this weakness that, and I need help from higher authorities to get rid of that weakness. Therefore, Arjuna is offering himself as a disciple to Krishna. He says, I'm your disciple and I'm surrendered to you. No, I don't know anymore. You tell me. So everyone must approach a spiritual master in disciplic succession. Because in a Guru Parampara connected with Krishna. Very important. Guru Parampara means a disciplic succession of spiritual master. Srila Prabhupada explains in Bhagavad Gita, what's a spiritual master? The spiritual master is a postman who just delivers the message. Krishna says, surrender unto me, and the spiritual master says, surrender unto Krishna. They say the same thing. So the spiritual master has realized the practice of the knowledge and lives with realization and can explain how to do it. But he's just representing Krishna, representing what he heard from his spiritual master, and repeats that. That's without any change, without adding anything. That's the spiritual master. Because then the chain of discipleship system becomes unbroken, as it was spoken by Krishna originally. And but of course, Arjuna takes direct shelter of Krishna. Krishna will take the position of spiritual master, but it's like Baladev Vidyabhushan, he sees between the lines of the Bhagavad Gita, and then next in the verse between, Krishna says to Arjuna, you want me to be your guru, but I'm your friend. You go to Srila Vyasadeva, not to me. But finally, Arjuna said, no, you are the only one who can help us. Because anyway, it's also what we can learn from that is we are perplexed, we are confused, we are depressed, we have problems, and we try to find material solutions, like Arjuna is giving so many solutions he proposes, all based on the bodily concept of life. And what's the result? It becomes more and more confused. So that's not a way to solve our problems in our life. Problems we can solve through transcendental knowledge. And therefore, it does not come out of it and says to Krishna, now I'm your disciple, you tell me. It shows all this futility of all these so-called material solutions. It's like we are in distress and we are trying to counteract it. But then something else pops up and you try to, but it has to come, it are the reactions of your karma. But that's not the solution. The solution is stop. First thing is stop to act as a body, identifying with the body. Start to identify with the soul. Understand what's the soul, and then act as the soul. Karma yoga. That's the solution to get out of it. And by that we become purified. And calmly, then we make progress. Srila Prabhupada writes, London, 1973. He's perplexed whether he should continue with this battle. There's a proverb in Bengal, we are perplexed whether I shall eat or not eat. Better not eat. Sometimes we come to this point. I'm very hungry. Shall I eat or not eat? The best course is not to eat. But if you eat, then you can eat in the month of December. Why? Bengal has tropical climate, but when it is winter, it is advised if you eat, it is not so harmful because it will be digested. The night is very long, or the cold season, the digestive power is nice. So when we are confused to do or not to do, when you think, shall I go or not, better don't go. But when it is a question of answering a call of nature, you must go. This is common sense. Similarly, Arjuna was perplexed, shall I fight or not fight? Right. Yeah, text 8. I can find no means to drive away this grief which is drying up my senses. I will not be able to dispel it even if I win a prosperous, unrivaled kingdom on earth with sovereignty like the demigods in heaven. So it's Arjuna is putting forward arguments based on the principles of religion, moral principles, good principles, but it could not solve this problem. So academic knowledge, high position, economic development will not help us to counteract the problems of our material existence. It's only a bona fide spiritual master who knows the signs of Krishna, he can solve the problems of life. Who knows the signs of Krishna. That's such a guru should be accepted regardless of his social position. So Srila Prabhupada makes this point in the purport that so a guru is one who knows the signs of Krishna. That regardless his position, whether he is a Sudra, let's say he's a Brahman, whether he's a Kshatriya or Vaishya or whatever, if one knows the signs of Krishna, he's a guru. There are quotations in the Bhagavatam, Ninth Kampa, Yasya Yal Lakshnam Putam Pum Surpani Puni. It says that one belongs to a certain caste, to a certain varna or ashram, according to one's qualifications and not by birth. That's in the Bhagavatam verse. So one is not a Brahman by birth. It's not because I take birth in the fact as a son of a high court judge that I'm a high court judge. No, you have to qualify yourself. So one has to qualify oneself, not by birth. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, he was very firm of that and confronted in Navadvip, everywhere he went, confronted the Smarta Brahmins and told them clear, a Vaishnava is higher than a Brahman. Because we will learn what is Brahman. This one who has realized Brahman. Brahma Bhuta Pasanatman Nashoshti Nakanshati. One who is situated on a spiritual platform, who does not lament, does not hanker anything, is liberated. But a devotee who acts according to the principles of Buddhi Yoga is beyond it, because he acts on the liberated platform. It's not just liberated, it's acting on the liberated platform. That's the Mayavadis, impersonalists, they try to come to the point of liberation. They attain that Varnam Gyan Nampa, Varnam Gyan Namante, Yana Van Nampa Vatsate, Vasdeva Sarvamiti Samatma Sudeo. After many births, such Jnanis, impersonalists, they come to the realization Vasudeva is everything. But what do you do then? Vasudeva is everything. Then you engage in the service of Vasudeva. Because that's what we are. We are a part and parcel of Krishna. 15:7 we will learn. Amavam Sushiveluku Shiva Upasanatana. They are eternal part and parcel of Krishna. And the part and parcel is serving the whole. Like a screw in a machine is only useful when it's connected to the machine. So this service is activity of the soul, devotional service. The soul cannot, that will be explained in the 3rd chapter, cannot be like a stone, no activity. It must act. Krishna explained in the 3rd chapter. He said to Arjuna, you must act. If you don't want to fight, still you will fight, because it's your nature. You will. That's on a material platform. But that's because the soul is active by nature, and its original activity is this devotional service to the Supreme Lord, and that gives satisfaction to the heart, great happiness derived from devotional service to the Yoga. There are just some hints for the future, because if you keep a folio with all the 16 subjects of the Bhagavad Gita, then one of them is defeating impersonalism. And this is a great misconception that we have to fight against. Srila Prabhupada's mission that Namaste Saraswata Devi Gauravani Pacharya Nirvishesha Srimyavani Vipaskatya Zotarini. It's defeating impersonalist and voidism in the Western world. That is Srila Prabhupada's mission. That mood and mission. Okay, text 9. Sanjaya said, having spoken with Arjuna, chastiser of enemies, told Krishna, Govinda, I shall not fight, and fell silent. The extent of the son of Bharat, at that time Krishna, smiling in the midst of both the armies, spoke the following words to the grief-stricken Arjuna. Krishna was smiling. So, Srila Prabhupada in Los Angeles, 1968. So Arjuna was very serious and Krishna was smiling. Just see the fool what he is doing. Therefore, there was necessity of instructing Bhagavad Gita. The fool has to be instructed. He was smiling. He was very serious. Just like sometimes a child is very serious and the father smiles. So now Bhagavad Gita will be spoken. He has accepted Krishna as his spiritual master. Krishna will now instruct him. So it shows also the process of accepting the spiritual master. The necessity to accept the spiritual master. Without spiritual master, we cannot solve the complexities of life. Krishna will take the position of the Guru, and he started to give jnana, knowledge, because Arjuna was lamenting, and he will get him out of his lamentation. But how do we do that? What's the best method? Is getting knowledge that we are a spirit soul and not a body, because all the fear and lamentation is related to our misconception that we are this body. So, as a guru, Krishna will rebuke Arjuna. He's going to call him a fool now. He will make him clear that his compassion was misplaced, that he was lamenting for the wrong thing. So, text 11. Ashoshan Ambachoshan Tvam Prakyavadam Savasate Gatasana Sa Nana Chichanti Pamita. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, by speaking learned words, you are mourning for what is not worthy of grief. Those who are wise lament neither for the living nor for the dead. So, he's chastising Arjuna. He's saying, your body is temporary, but your soul is eternal. So, you are the soul, not the body. So why do you lament? This Srila Prabhupada, Los Angeles, 1968. Similarly, Krishna, after just taking the position of the spiritual master, is designating Arjuna as a total fool. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also said, my spiritual master found me a great fool. Was Chaitanya Mahaprabhu a fool? It is possible that anyone can become the spiritual master of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Both are impossible. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, even not accepting him as incarnation of Krishna, if you simply accept him as ordinary scholar or man, there was no comparison of his scholarship. But he said, my spiritual master found me grateful. What does it mean? A person even in my position always remains a fool before his spiritual master. That is good for him. Nobody should impose that. What do you know? I know better than you. So that's very important. If we want to receive knowledge, we only receive it if we are in a humble position. Otherwise you may hear it. But if you think, I know better, you will not receive it. If you think, I've understood Bhagavad Gita, then you will not, you don't have received the knowledge. My Guru said when he first got Srila Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita, he was reading, and he became so enthusiastic, he was reading it in one go, practically. And on every page he said, when he read Srila Prabhupada's purport, he was thinking, now I understood Bhagavad Gita. That now I understood, he was thinking. And then he met Srila Prabhupada in 1977 at the Kumbh Mela in India. And it's a whole story how, but finally after the Kumbh Mela, he was on the same train as Srila Prabhupada. And I think it was Bhavananda Maharaj at that time. And he said to Bhakti Sharma, he said to him, yeah, do you want to meet Srila Prabhupada? And he said, Bhavananda said, you come with me. And they came to the compartment where Srila Prabhupada was sitting with a few sannyasis. Bhavananda opened the door and he pushed my Guru inside. He fell, he offered immediately obeisance to Srila Prabhupada. That was the first meeting. And Srila Prabhupada said, you sit here near to me, just beside me. But he didn't want to do that. And finally, the sannyas of the other side made place. And the first instruction he was giving back to Sharma was, you should translate the Bhagavatam in Bengali. But then, it's a whole story, but he became the personal servant of Srila Prabhupada. And after 3 months serving Srila Prabhupada, he got a realization. His realization was, I did not understand anything from Bhagavad Gita. Because he was seeing the living Bhagavad Gita, how to live. And by that he could understand. I did not understand. Because theoretical knowledge is useless if we don't bring it in practice. We need to know it to bring it in practice. How to act. Practice is very important. Because that will give us realization. And that realization we keep. Knowledge in itself is not a goal. So, then we have text 12. Text 12 is a very important verse. It's not Pevam Chaturna Shamna from Negi Shanati Bhivan Ashevana Bhavishama Sarva Vainamata. This is verse where Krishna says that you, all these kings and me have existed in the past and we are existing now. We will never stop to exist in the future. That defeats complete Mayavadi philosophy. Because this verse, Krishna, is confirming the eternality of the soul. that it will never stop to exist. Because the Mayavadis think I will merge with Brahman, but that's not possible. If you are eternal and your individuality is eternal, you remain in eternal and a separate soul. That's what Krishna says in 15.7. Mamavan Shoshibelabhi Shiva Bhuta Sanatana. Yeah, all the living entities are my part and parcels, eternally separated, part and parcels eternally. He will give in one of the next verse. He says, yeah, the soul is atomic, cannot be killed, cannot be cut into pieces. It's not possible. So because Krishna affirms individuality. It says Arjuna is an individuality, and all the kings will remain individuals. They are it in the past, present, future. So Mayavadis declare that any individual consciousness is due to illusion. If this is the case, then Krishna is in illusion, Arjuna is in illusion. What's the use of speaking Bhagavad Gita between two who are in illusion? Then Bhagavad Gita cannot be authoritative. So, important elements for the So, Mayavadis cannot claim the authority of Bhagavad Gita. It's not in that they may claim some similarity with some of the Upanishads. But the main Upanishads also confirm the individuality of Krishna. Shri Upanishad is about God as a person. Very interesting. We will study that in depth in the last module. Shri Upanishad. But Mayavadis, they claim the authority of Bhagavad Gita. It's just ridiculous. Mayavadis argue that the plurality mentioned in this verse is conventional and that it refers to the body. But in the previous verse, Krishna has condemned the body conception of life. He's saying one should not lament, neither for the dead or the living, because we are eternal souls. He has condemned it. So it does not make sense. So I will read from this verse part of the purpose because it's so important. And it starts with the third paragraph. The Mayavadi theory that after liberation the individual soul separated by the covering of Maya or illusion will merge into the impersonal Brahman and lose its individual existence, it's not supported herein by Lord Krishna, the Supreme Authority. Nor is it theory that we only think of individuality in the conditioned state supported herein. Krishna clearly says that herein, that in the future also the individuality of the Lord and others, as it is confirmed in the Upanishads, will continue eternally. This statement of Krishna's is authoritative because Krishna cannot be subject to illusion. If individuality were not a fact, then Krishna would not have stressed it so much, even for the future. The Mayavadi may argue that individuality spoken by Krishna is not spiritual but material. Even accepting the argument that individuality is material, then how can one distinguish Krishna's individuality? Krishna affirms his individuality in the past and confirms his individuality in the future also. He has also confirmed his individuality in many ways. An impersonal Brahman has been declared to be subordinate to him. Bhagavad Gita 7:7. Is nothing greater than me, Krishna says. In Bhagavad Gita 14:27, Krishna says, Brahmani Pratisthana. Brahman is subordinate to me. Very clear that impersonalists have a big problem with Bhagavad Gita. Krishna has maintained spiritual individuality all along. If he is accepted as an ordinary conditioned soul in individual consciousness, then this Bhagavad Gita has no value as authoritative scripture. No. The next verse is the famous verse which we need to memorize. That's the first verse we normally learn from Bhagavad Gita. Tenosmin satade kamam chakam chara tatadyam prapti tiyastata amuyati. That as an embodied soul continually passes in this body from boyhood to youth to old age, the soul suddenly passes into another body. A sober person is not bewildered by such experience. Yeah. So Krishna explains here the body changes constantly, every moment. But we, the soul, we are remaining the same. Therefore, Arjuna should not lament, because Bhishma, Drona, they will get new bodies, heavenly bodies, much better bodies. So what's the use to lament? That Krishna will say here, this in the Bhagavad Gita, one who takes birth is sure to die. One who dies is sure to take birth. So hopefully it's a spiritual one. So the Mayavadi theory cannot be accepted because the spirit soul, after liberation, that remains in eternal path, unchangeable, uncreepable, not be cut to pieces. Arjuna has so many powerful weapons in his chariot. Krishna is saying, not with any of these with weapons, you cannot kill the soul. You think you are the slayer, you are going to kill, but you cannot kill anyone. You cause them to change new bodies. And that's good to have a new body, because the body from Vishnudev is old. And it's becoming useless, very difficult. And those who get older, they know that. So Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and Arjuna is fragmental part. Again, that point here is very important. If both are under illusion, Bhagavad Gita is useless, because then Krishna, what was the use of Krishna instructing Arjuna if they are both in illusion? That Srila Prabhu in London, 1973. Foolish people may say that you devotees, you are dying, and the sinful man or non-devotees, they are also dying, so what's the difference? Well, there is difference. This has been described by the example, just like a cat catches a kitten and catches the mouse. So formally we see that the cat has caught the mouse in her mouth and the kitten also in her mouth. But the method of catching is different. The kitten feels pleasure. My mother is carrying me. And the mouse is feeling its death knell. Oh, I'm going to die. This is the difference. So although a devotee is dying and a non-devotee is dying, there is difference of feeling at the time of death, like the mouse and the kitten. And don't consider that both of them are dying in the same process. The process may be the same, but the different situation is different. Similarly, everyone will be captured by the laws of nature, but the devotee will be carried with great care to Vaikuntha, and others will be thrown again into material existence. Everyone wants to live forever. Nobody wants to die. If I come before you with a revolver and I say, I'm going to kill you, you will immediately cry out because you do not want to die. This is not a very good business. To die and take birth again, it's very troublesome. Then this we all know subconsciously. We know that when we die we will have to enter again into the womb of a mother. And nowadays mothers are killing their children in the womb. The process of accepting another body again and again is very long and very troublesome. In our subconscious we remember all this trouble, and therefore we do not want to die. So Dhirastatra Namuchati, it's a very simple thing. Suppose a young man, a boy changes his bodily symptoms, just like a boy has no moustache or beard, but all of a sudden he grows hair. Does he cry, oh, why am I growing hair? Why am I growing? Funny. So next verse, Matras precious, here Krishna gives Arjuna the first instruction what to do to come out of this identification with the body. First instruction. Very important instruction to all of us. Son of Kunti, the non-permanent appearance of happiness and distress and their disappearance in due course are like the appearance and disappearance of winter and summer season. They arise from sun's perception of sign of Bharat, and one must learn to tolerate them without being disturbed. So that's the first instruction. So one must learn to tolerate inconveniences like happiness and distress. Because if we do that, we don't lament, we tolerate. We learn how to tolerate. And distress comes and we are not hankering about it. We just accept it without being enthusiastic about it. Then you will come to the platform of knowledge. One, Krishna will say at the end of the Bhagavad Gita, one should not explain this knowledge to one who is not austere. Because a person who lives for sense gratification is just into his subtle body is completely immersed by lust, anger, greed, madness, illusion, envy. Without it's so many enemies of your mind come. And so your mind is constantly disturbed. You cannot concentrate. And you can not give attention. And even if you hear, you will not be able to understand. That will be explained in the third chapter. Avitam jnanam etana jnanam nitya parinam duspranam alenacha. Kamrupina kantya duspranam alenacha. Lust covers your intelligence. And what is this intelligence? Understanding the self. It's not possible. Understanding Krishna, not possible. When your mind senses are full of lust. And therefore you must give it up. That because if you don't tolerate, and you have this weakness of mind, and I want to enjoy, I'm going to enjoy, then yei samspasya, sei samspasya yavoka, dukkha yonina evata, atyanta van de kantya, naam teshu mante buddha. The fifth chapter Krishna says, if you do that, then you will just, your enjoyment is a cause of suffering, that's all. One who wants to enjoy will suffer, that's the result. So we have to come out of this happiness and distress. Why? tolerating. And that brings us to the position of liberation. It's not just tolerating externally, but also mental tolerating. If someone is disturbed and says something which is not nice to you, don't jump into it and try to defend yourself. No, you have to learn to tolerate. If you tolerate, you will remain sane and be able to see what's really going on. You will understand this person is disturbed because he has expectations which are not fulfilled. And his expectations, they are related to the body. Anyway, that will all be developed further in this chapter, because it's a summary of the whole thing. And that. So, to come to the platform of knowledge, that's the first thing, because what is Krishna explaining here is knowledge, transcendental knowledge, difference between body and soul. To understand that, first Krishna says, tolerate this happening, this in distress. In the next verse, he says, Yamina Tatamete Purusham Purushasava Agama Samduka Sukamdiram Somitat Kalpa. He says, if you can, best among men, Arjuna, if you can tolerate this happiness and distress, then you are eligible for liberation. That's, if you can tolerate it, you are on the liberated platform. Very simple. So it's not so easy to come to that platform, but why? You should constantly work on this. Because of course, if we learn later, if you engage the mind and senses in Krishna consciousness, then we are concerned with pleasing Krishna. And when distress comes in the mind, we don't care. If it pleases Krishna, that's good. If happiness comes, we accept it also. That's because the highest example are the gopis. That's Narada Muni who came and said, Narada Muni asked different sages, Krishna has a headache and he can only be cured by the dust of the lotus feet of his pure devotees. And I went to so many saintly devotees to beg for the dust of their lotus feet, and they all said, no, I cannot give that, because if I give that to Krishna, then I'm going to hell. Because a real saintly person does never seem sort of a saintly person. But then he came to the gopis and he said, he asked them the same thing, and the gopis said, oh, take them immediately, take all the dust you like. And Narada Muni said, are you not afraid of going to hell? Well, if going to hell, and if Krishna is cured from his headache and is pleased by that, then for us going to hell is our pleasure. So that's happiness and distress. For pure devotee, it makes no sense. It's related to the body. When distress comes, we see that as Krishna's mercy, and it makes us remind Krishna. So like we see teaching of Queen Kunti on the Saturday morning class, we will discuss this soon, where Queen Kunti, she's considering calamities are welcome. Because if they come, then I remember Krishna. And when I remember Krishna, there is no birth, death, old age and disease. That's high realization, not to be imitated. But on our level, we should understand that we have to practice this tolerance, and that will help us to advance that. Then text 15. 16. Nás sato vidyateva vo navagovityatis, advoyo pradishtam. Those who are seers of the truth have concluded that of the non-existent there is no endurance, and of the eternal soul there is no change. This they have concluded by studying the nature of both. You have here that word tattvadarshivi used in this verse 16, I think. Tattvadarshivi. Also, we will find that same word in 434. Tat vinipanaparna parapesana sivya upadeksham videkyanam shyanas tattvadakshina. Approaches a spiritual master, inquire from him, serve him submissively. One should approach the spiritual master because he has seen the truth. And here is also about seeing the truth. If one who sees the truth, he sees that the body is always changing and the soul is eternally the same. It does not change. That's the vision of one who sees the truth. So we have a few quotes of Srila Prabhupada. First about this being tolerant. A few interesting quotes. The devotees must sometimes be tolerant in working with each other. That's a nice one. Haridas spoke to Advaita Acharya about his Sankirtan partner Nityananda Prabhu. The Lord has sent me out with an extremely restless person. If I go in one direction, he will find another. He will jump in the crocodile-infested swelling monsoon waters of the Ganga and try to catch the crocodile. When I stand on the bank shouting for him to return, he ignores everything and floats downstream like a dead man. And if he sees a young boy on the banks, he gets up and goes shouting angrily after the boy. Soon the boy's irate parents arrive with sticks, and I have to plead and beg them before sending them away. He steals butter and cream from the milkman and runs away. I get proud and they want to beat me up. He's always doing that sort of activities, which are incorrigible and beyond all logic. If he comes across a young maiden, he asks her to marry him. He sits on a bowl shouting, Mahesh! And if he sees a cow, he milks her and drinks the milk. That is the Sankirtan story from Chaitanya Bhagavad, Madhya Lila 13. Another story about book distribution. How a preacher tolerates Puras and tapas, book distributors in Scandinavia. It's very cold. Yeah, I know tapas. In Norway, it's always raining. Looks like in elsewhere, it is sometimes too hot. Sometimes the devotee meets nasty demons who want to beat him up. Even if someone is nasty, you have to be detached. That is tapasya. You're always nice. If other people, even if other people are not. That's the devotees of the Lord do not regard as very troublesome the suffering he imposes on them. Indeed, they find that in the end it gives rise to unlimited pleasure, just as a stinging ointment applied by a doctor cures his patient's eye. It is at night that the sunrise becomes attractive. During a hot summer, that cold water gives comfort. And during cold winter months, that warm water is pleasing. Lamplight appears attractive in the darkness. And when one is in distress by hunger, food tastes especially good. So, to strengthen the devotee's mood of dependence on him and longing for him, the Lord arranges for his devotees to go through some suffering, and when he appears to deliver them, their gratitude and transcendental pleasure are boundless. Interesting. Right. Krishna's transcendental character. He arranges situations for his devotees so that they can become more tolerant. That miseries are coming. Anyway, we are in Kali Yuga. No one has to pray for miseries. They come on their own. In a very good age for this. Text 15 was the first Yamina Sankirtan. So Krishna is addressing Arjuna as Purushasava, the best of man, the best of the man. Certainly, Arjuna is the best of mankind, because he is a personal friend of Krishna. Who can be better man than him? The best of man. So why is the best of man distressed in executing his duty? Actually, the best of man should not be disturbed by any material condition, but simply discharge his duties. And what is the duty? Duty is to become immortal. The formula is given here by Krishna how to become immortal. That means you should be oblivious to so-called happiness and distress in this material world. One who doesn't care what is distress and happiness of this body must execute Krishna consciousness. That is the qualification of one who says, oh, I cannot execute Krishna consciousness because there are so many inconveniences. He is not fit for becoming immortal. So, tolerating that. Now we have text 16 was about this, the body changes and the spirit never changes. And so Prabhupada says there are two things, Sat and Asat. Sat means which exists, and Asat means which does not exist, temporary. It appears again and disappears. That is Asat. Sometimes we have an experience when threads become entangled. It is very difficult to unravel them. And the yarn is sometimes spoiled. So on account of our attachment to this material body, we are becoming entangled. The modern so-called philosophers, scientists and scholars say, I think, what is your value? The great personalities will never say this. Therefore Krishna says, Tattva Darshibi. It has been concluded by higher authorities. Krishna himself is the authority. Sometimes he says, Matam Mama, this is my opinion. But he's also following the principle authoritative, Tattva Darshibi. Although Krishna is saying this is Sat and this is Asat, this is permanent, this is non-permanent, still he gives evidence that Tattva Darshibi. Those who have seen the truth, they have concluded this. This means accepting authority. Krishna is showing, the importance of accepting authority. Okay. Then we have text 17. That which pervades the entire body you should know to be indestructible. No one is able to destroy this imperishable soul. So the body is atomic. It's described in some of the Shastras as 1/10,000th of the tip of a hair. It's so small, we cannot perceive it. But that's us, in the heart. And it's a cause of consciousness. That consciousness is spread all over the body, through the blood. And therefore we are conscious of what's going on in the body. But there's no blood, there's no feeling, no consciousness. So Srila Prabhupada says, anyone can understand in the purport. He says that material body minus consciousness is that body. And So no material means can give life to a body. The body is not alive. The soul is alive in the body. Therefore the body is functioning. The soul is out of the body, is immediately decomposing. We don't want to keep it, get it out. We don't love it anymore. We love the person in the body, the individual. It's very simple, but most people do not understand this simple thing. 18. The material body of the indestructible, immeasurable and eternal living entity is sure to come to an end. Therefore fight for the Son of Bhagavad. So it's not because we are not a body that you just can kill the body. It's unauthorized, killing of the body. If we do it just without reason, then it's condemned by the Vedic scriptures. It's punishable by the law of state. It's murder, killing somebody. But if you are in the army and you are ordered to kill the enemy, then the law will not punish you. They will glorify you as an hero. So, authority. So, Krishna encourages Arjuna to kill for the principle of religion, not principle. That with a clear reason that because the eternal body, the eternal soul, and the immeasurable eternal soul cannot be killed. Cannot be killed, and the material body cannot be saved. We can't try to save the body. Because if Arjuna would not have killed of the enemies, then would they be still alive? No. It's all temporary. So, text 19. Neither he who thinks a living entity the slayer, nor he thinks it is slain is in knowledge. For the self slays not, nor is slain. So, nobody can kill another individual, because the individual is eternal. It's the body which is separated, that the soul is to go to its next destination and get a new body. That Srila Prabhupada is in his purpose of the Bhagavatam 1.7.37. Regarding just punishment and killing on religious principle, a cruel and wretched person who maintains his existence at the cost of others' lives deserves to be killed for his own well-being. Otherwise, he will go down by his own actions. That it's like a murderer. He has killed someone, and he will get a very heavy reaction for that. A Kshatriya kills out of duty for religious principle, get no reaction. Because it's his duty. But it's not your duty, you kill, you will get a very heavy reaction. Therefore, the Dharma Shastra said a murderer should be hanged, should be killed, executed. Because by doing that, he will be saved from reactions in his next life. He will be free from reactions that come. So, foolish people are suspicious of Krishna's taking part in the battle of Kurukshetra, not knowing that is taking part ensured liberation for all who were present on the battlefield. It is said by Bhishmadev that all who were present on the battlefield of Kurukshetra attained their original spiritual existence after death. Therefore, hearing the vast topics of the Lord is as good as any devotional service. Krishna says that at the end of Bhagavad Gita, one who studied this sacred conversation between Krishna and Arjuna, who studies this conversation, is performing devotional service. That is engaging one's intelligence in the service of Krishna. So we have heard in this section the importance of tolerating happiness and distress. We got a lot of arguments against Mayavadis, that so many, and we heard about the nature of the soul, and lesson 3 we get more yarn, more details about the nature of the soul. So, thank you very much. Any questions? Yes?
Okay, sure. Just on your last point about the unauthorized killing of the body is condemned, that Arjuna should be killing on the principle of religion. I was just thinking of a modern day question really, how a Kshatriya's duty is to kill, and a Kshatriya has no reaction if he's killing on the principle of religion. Now, in this day and age, like we're at war at the moment, say we're in Afghanistan, that soldier may be fighting on behalf of the country, on behalf of the monarchy, which is representative of God. What sort of karma does that Kshatriya receive? So although it's not for the principle of religion, yet it's still his duty.
Well, this question was also asked to Purnachandra Maharaj. He said that if one acts purely out of duty as a soldier, and you do your duty, then one will get higher destinations.
So that's a positive reaction.
Yeah, but of course this is really a purity in heart, I must say. To do purely act of duty.
But a lot of people that may take up occupations may have some level of purity of the heart. There may be somebody who's a nurse who purely wants to help people, who wants to look up, or others want to look after children.
Yeah.
There's still some level of goodness in that service.
It depends, because one may have good intentions, but Krishna consciousness, or acting out of duty, means acting in knowledge. In knowledge that I'm a part and parcel of Krishna, and everything is meant for his service. If one does not act in that knowledge, and one thinks one is the body, then there are always motivations, and that's in the way of this pure acting out of duty. But Krishna reciprocates according to one's purity. So
because everybody chooses their occupation to some extent. We're not all, probably most people in this room is working to some extent.
Yeah.
For some level of motivation.
We have all psycho-physical nature. And normally we are engaged according to that nature in our occupation. It's not this pure Varnas in the Varnashram system, it's not there anymore. Because the system they created can give another lecture.
But devotees then give that fruit to Krishna, right? that would reduce some karma.
when devotees act out of duty, and what is the duty of every living entity? Is to act for the pleasure of Krishna. That's acting on the soul level. Because acting out of duty and not acting for Krishna, it's very difficult. That's impersonal. It's very difficult. Because our desires comes and so on. But when act for Krishna, it becomes easy. Yeah, this is the goal and nothing else. Yeah, we will learn more about that in the next chapters. About next time Kaman Epotakarsti after this in Akachna, where Krishna says you should act out of duty, but you are not entitled to the fruits of his activity, of your activity. So the soldier who fights for his country, that he may be attached to a certain level to the fruits of his activities. Although he acts out of duty for his country. But if it's pure really, just I'm a soldier like Bhishma Dev. Bhishma Dev, he was fighting on the wrong side. And Bhishma Dev said, yeah, I'm a Kshatriya, and I will give my life as a duty, and will do my duty as a Kshatriya, and I will give my life for this fighting. And that's pure, because he did it, that's the mentality of a pure Kshatriya. I will fight and I will give my life because it's my duty. But of course Bhishma Dev did it for Krishna.
But could that also be seen as a form of attachment, to be attached to that duty?
To be attached for the duty for Krishna?
Well, it could be duty, maybe not even for
Yeah, being attached for out of duty, but that's good to be attached to the duty. But for what reason are you attached to the duty? And that's the contamination.
Yeah.
If it's pure duty, that's on a platform of liberation. But if there are slight attachments, you get reactions according to it's the laws of action and reaction. We learn that karma become very subtle, very difficult to understand. It's the most safest way is just act for the pleasure of Krishna. That just simplifies everything. And it's a higher platform than just acting out of duty. It's acting for higher. Right? Something else? Yes?
In this chapter, Krishna is really pushing for Arjuna to kill his family. And he gives so many reasons that they will die anyway. Or I'm sure if he doesn't get Arjuna to kill him, Krishna will sort it out some other way. Or he says that Bhishma is going to get old anyway. Give him a new body. Or he finally says that you're not the body, you're the soul. But these aren't reasons for taking souls out of bodies, are they? Like going around killing bodies. What's the main reason why Krishna is pushing to kill the Kauravas?
The real reason is Yadaya Dharmasya planning Bhavna Bhagavatam Yutanam Dharmasya. He wants to re-establish the principles of religion. And how does he do it? He do that Parikrama Sadnam Vinasaya Sadeskritam. He comes to glorify the devotees, to protect the devotees, and to kill the demons. And that's Krishna's business. And he's using Arjuna and his devotees to help him in that duty. So they are all transgressors of religion. They have committed the greatest sinful acts. Yeah, they are murderers. Because of what they tried to destroy the property. They transgressed all codes of religion, and they deserve to be killed. Just by the state laws, they would be killed. And so it was right to kill them, because it was his profession. He's a Kshatriya. He must keep order and help to re-establish the religious principle. It was just his duty. So, but it's of a transcendental order, doing it for a higher purpose, because Krishna was there present, and this was his mission. It's Krishna's mission to kill everyone. We learn about it. It's the greatest terrorist.
Earlier on you said about tolerating people who are so much in the bodily concept, but Krishna is not tolerating the Kauravas.
No.
So what do you mean by tolerating?
It's different. Because Krishna tolerates everything up to the point. You can see with Shishupal up to 100, but it tolerates everything, but not that someone is making offenses toward his devotees.
Yeah.
He will not tolerate, and they try to destroy Draupadi, and just by trying to do that, Krishna made a vow. All the wives of his Kurus, the hair of their wives will come down. They will become widow. It was just Krishna's will. Nothing they could do about it. It is Krishna. He protects his devotees, and one who blasphemes or tolerate or makes offense to his devotees, he never forgives. And that's a good lesson for us. We try to become devotees. Even with neophyte devotees, we should be very careful. Never always tolerate and try to please them. It is said in the Bhagavatam, even a Brahman, if a Brahman addresses you with harsh words, then one should smile and accept it and ask him, please forgive me, how can I serve you? That's in the Bhagavatam. That's spiritual behavior. It's so learning curve for us. Anyway, let's stop here. Thank you very much.
Jetzt noch vom Küchen.